Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear my student, a third grade of secondary science of department in governorate and private language school. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, introduce myself for you, Mr. Imad Al-Mirghani, teacher of biology. Welcome. Today we are talk about a third chapter in biology, chapter number 3, the reproduction. The reproduction in living organisms. Firstly, what is the organisms? The organisms such as man, plants, microbiology. So all living organisms can carry out of reproduction. The reproduction is one of the vital functions in the living organisms. What is the reproduction? Reproduction in one word equal increasing the numbers of individuals in the living organisms can carry out in reproduction in the environment. But what is the scientific definition of reproduction? It is a vital process, it is a vital functions after adulting, after growing, the individual can carry out the reproduction. Now, what is the importance of reproduction for living organisms? What is the importance? The importance, number one, the reproduction keeping its species in the environment constant in the environment. Number two, the reproduction protect it against extinction. What is the meaning of extinction? Again, the reproduction protect the living organisms against extinction. What is the meaning of extinction? Extinction بتعني انقراض. Number three, the reproduction doesn't affect the normal life of individual. What I mean? The reproduction process depends on all vital function and not the reverse. The reproduction process depends on all vital function, not all vital function depends on the reproduction. So, the reproduction is less important from the other vital process, like respiration, breathing, like digestion, and so on. Number four, reproduction occurs in all living organisms, such as unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms such as yeast, amoeba, paramecium, and so on. Then the multicellular organisms such as higher plants, higher animals. The reproduction occurs in the all living organisms and in primitive and higher organisms. Now, my students, what is the methods of reproduction? What is the methods of reproduction? The methods of reproduction represents in three main parts. Number one, sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Number two. Number three, mix between asexual and sexual reproduction, named alternation of generation. Alternation of generation. Alternation of generation happens in one life cycle of the living organism. Makes between sexual and asexual reproduction together. Now we take about asexual reproduction in this lecture. Asexual reproduction in 7 types, 7 ways. Example, number one, binary fission, budding, regeneration by spores, parthenogenesis, tissues culture, and vegetative way. Today, we talk about 3 only: binary fission, budding, and regeneration. Now, what is the properties, what is the characteristics of asexual reproduction? The properties of asexual reproduction. Number one, after mitotic division. Asexual reproduction characterized by mitotic division. The original cell, the original mother cell, after mitotic division, to produce identical 2 cells. Each one contains the same hereditary substances. So, the two cells contain duplicate or double hereditary substance, or the same number of chromosomes. The same number of chromosomes. Between brackets, 2n, this original cell, leads to 2 cells, each one 2n and 2n chromosomes. the two parts of asexual reproduction. The mother cell, after division, after mitotic division, mitosis, may be disappear. Number 3, asexual reproduction doesn't require time and energy. Time and energy. Asexual reproduction occurs in a short time, not need big effort. Number 4, asexual reproduction doesn't needs the two parents. Need one parents only. One of them can carry out the asexual reproduction, male or female, not named male or female, but the all cells can carry out of the asexual reproduction. Number 5, publicity. What is the meaning of publicity? شيوع. The asexual reproduction, it is common in primitive living organisms, such as bacteria, yeast, amoeba, and some lower plants alike, some algae, some fungi, and ferns. Now, my students, we talk about 3 properties only. Number 1, binary vision. Number 2, budding. Number 3, regeneration. Number 1, binary vision. What is the meaning of binary vision? The original cell direct divide into 2 identical cells. The division occurs gradually to make identical cells, such as bacteria, some algae. Primitive organisms, unicellular organisms, or protozoa, unicellular. The binary vision occurs in 2 ways, 2 cases. Number A, when the conditions is a normal conditions. Number B, when the conditions in the environment is a bad, not suitable, unsuitable conditions. What happened? The cell, as an amoeba, as a bacteria, secrete a shell or coat around the nucleus and cytoplasm. This coat formed from chitin. Okay. Again, the original cell secrete chitinous coat around the original cell. Why? To protect it from the hard conditions when or even these conditions are improved. This named cyst تحوصل. This a binary vision. Number two, budding. What is the meaning of budding? What is the meaning of budding? Budding equal bud. Some primitive and lower plants can make a bud. Boron. Example, yeast and hydrospongy and so on. Yeast. The cell of yeast formed small protrusion. What is the meaning of protrusion? Bruise on the original cell. The protrusion in yeast attachment is the original cell, and to grow other buds to forming colonies. To forming a colonies. What is the meaning of colonies? Colonies مستعمرات. Other example, hydra or spongy from multicellular organisms. When the hydra from aquatic animals live in the sea, fixed on rocks, and budding in hydra when the original cell, any cell in the hydra, divide into two cells, one of them in the original cell and the other to form a bud. This bud grow gradually to make a new individual, but the new individual attachment to the original cell. Number three, regeneration. In the firstly, what is the meaning of regeneration? التجدد. The regeneration is compensating استعاضة, تعويض. The regeneration is compensating the lost parts of the body. For examples, in hydra, again, yes, hydra budding, buds to form buds, and hydra can carry out of regeneration. Then planaria worm, starfish, amphibians, some amphibians, sponges, okay, and some reptiles such as lizard, crocodile, and so on. For example, a lizard, when a lizard cut its tail, the tail compensates again for the animal. This named of regeneration. The regeneration has two ways. So the regeneration is not considered a reproduction as a lizard. Number two, the regeneration is considered as sexual reproduction. Number one, again, the regeneration is not considered a reproduction, between brackets, named renew. Why? Because the animal don't form two individuals, not increasing the number, but compensating only. تعويض فقط is not considered a reproduction or a sexual reproduction. Other example, in man, when healing of wounds, in skin, in blood vessels, and muscles. Yes. The reproduction is considered a sexual reproduction. For example, hydra, by cutting any parts of the hydra, this part can be to form a new individual. Yes, increasing the number. Other example, the starfish. Starfish, when cutting any arms of a starfish, aquatic animal of echinodermata, live in the sea. When cutting any arms, this arm to form a new individual, and the original animal compensating this cut of arm to form a new individual too. So the starfish to forming two individuals. Yes, this reproduction as sexual reproduction. Yes, my students, so there are important questions. What? Breeders of bear muzzles farmers. What is the meaning of breeders bear muzzles farmers؟ اللي هم بنسميهم يا اولاد اللي هم مزارعين محار اللؤلؤ. طبعا دول الخليج بتعمل هذا. advises them to collecting starfish, sea star, and burns them instead cutting them and throwing back into the sea again. The pearl mussels farmers advise them to collecting the sea star and burn them instead cutting them and throw back into the sea again. Why? Give reason. Can you try answer this question in your home by yourself and discuss it next inshallah. Now at this point we are stopped and again meeting again next period. Thank you and السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Mr. Imad Ilmran. Now we can look about at the board to explain budding, regeneration, and binary vision. Now look at the board. The first figure, this amoeba when divided into two identical cells gradually, this binary vision. Number 2, the figure number 2, the yeast, this a cell of yeast when budding, small protrusion in the original cell to forming several buds to forming colonies, مستعمرات. Or no, budding. Number 3, these hydra, aquatic animals in the sea. Okay, this hydra, these tentacles of hydra, some of them of cell divided into two cells, mitotic division. One of them to form a bud and the other stay in the original animal, and the bud grow gradually to forming a new individual and separate from the original cell. This regeneration. Maybe the hydra cuts its parts and each part to forming a new individual. Other example in starfish, 5 arms starfish and vital discoid, middle discoid in the middle, when cut in an one arm or 2 arms. Okay, yes, this is a cut. Yes, with the discoid, vital discoids. Okay, this animal to form the cut part and the cut part or arm to form a new individual. The result to forming two animals, to a new individuals. This regeneration in C star. Okay, thank you for you, my students.